Oh, and there we go.
Hey guys.
Excellent. There we are. Welcome, Keys of A Minor. That's the name of the show title. What do you think? We
I
didn't
like
quite start yet. That's like a serious question. What do you think? I don't know that we have any viewers yet.
I like it. I personally, I mean, I think that maybe we should put a poll out amongst
Right. Yeah.
amongst the streamers or something, and go, harness their creative talents because I'm not very good with names. For fantasy football, I did a random name generator. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, how do I see the viewers?
Yeah, they're just logging on now, and I need. All right, can you hear me?
Yep, good to go.
Excellent. Yeah, I shouldn't have been messing around with the settings. I think that looks good. We look good.
Yep.
All right. Let's give it a 3, 2, 1, and we'll call it a go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to Keys of a Minor featuring LouisvilleSnuggler, the genius crypto, DeFi token, you name it. He knows it. How you doing today, Louisville?
I'm doing great. Thank you, man. How are you?
Great. I'm super excited to be in this show with you. We have a ton to talk about and get this community up to your level, man. So all right, well, let's get it going. First thing would love to ask you is, have you read the Nifty Blocks white paper?
I have, and it is actually kind of a jaw dropper overall. Actually, it's I was kind of at a loss for words when I read it because of the fact that how absolutely takeoverish it's going to end up being. There's just so many features that go along with it that it kind of shows how much Atomic Hub is leaving on the table when they're doing their NFT marketplace, because there's so much more utility that can be done in the background to more or less encourage people to either buy, hold, or even sell NFTs in general on their platform specifically. Um, so there's, I mean, it's absolutely limitless. When you go back and look at the white paper itself, what will end up happening is people buying these NFTs on their platform end up getting staked for their Nifty token. Um,
So
and
I guess maybe that's where we should start. So for anybody who is tuning in and doesn't know what Nifty Blocks is, it's a NFT marketplace utility. It's everything to do with NFTs. Very similar to Atomic Hub. If you've been on Atomic Hub, I would probably call them competitors, if not very similar. There's some things you can do on one site that you can't do on the other, and vice versa. Um, but it's a great community utility that has grown quite popular, especially with NFT creators over the last couple of months. And we'll talk more about that. And they just released their white paper that goes into immense detail about their roadmap and introduces us to for the first time, the Nifty token. And that's where we are now, talking about the tokenomics. Go
yes,
ahead.
so as far as how they're launching the coin and distributing it from the start, um, th- that's we can really kind of bypass that. Anybody who has purchased anything um, from on the Nifty Blocks platform. I think it was late June, June 29th, I think it was the date for it. Was when they took like a snapshot of all previous
Right.
purchases. They will airdrop some Nifty tokens out
Yeah.
for that. So I wouldn't really be too concerned with how they're going to do it. But there is going to be a community sale where you buy packs from them. They'll have a collector, artist, and whale style sale there. But so ultimately, you're going to end up, buying into that from the start, it seems. But you can actually just earn it just from using the platform passively. So buying and selling is going to play a big role in that. And they introduce kind of like a buyer's liquidity mining scenario here, where if you just by buying, you'll get a certain mining payout for that liquidity during that week. So like
Okay.
so what'll happen is how much wax spent and the actual value of wax in Nifty is how they have the whole formula right there at page 11, page 13 at the very bottom. But you'll
So
get
what is this calculation that I'm looking at here?
this is how that they will determine how much the Nifty pool, and like what the mining share is. Now they have different mining weights on where you'll get actually more Nifty drop as for buying, and that would be paying in Nifty for the NFT. So they're not only going to have Nifty being rewarded to you, but you can also use that to buy NFTs later. Obviously, there's probably going to be a secondary market somewhere, like Alcor or one of those other peer-to-peer exchanges,
Right.
where you could actually probably buy Nifty or sell your Nifty. But it looks like that they have a pretty good use case where you shouldn't really need to sell it. People would probably more likely want to buy it for the extra liquidity mining power. So it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy within itself, because you want to spend the Nifty instead of the wax for the extra mining power. It's almost like a cash back bonus is the way I see it. That's a really good way to look at it, is Nifty's offering cash back on their on NFT purchases.
So somebody in the audience, actually a couple people, they had mentioned this Betsy collection. So if you see here, there's a few different collections that if you're holding the NFTs, you'll be part of that community airdrop. What can you tell us about that? Or I guess even better, let's take a look at what those are here. So let me switch our screen to Atomic Hub. And if I'm not mistaken, it would be under Alpaca Worlds. So I believe these, so they give you the template IDs, if I'm not mistaken. So holders of that, it's the silver coin and the gold coin for Alpaca Worlds, which those came in these packs here. And if you had a red one, I think you were guaranteed a silver coin. And if you had a green one, you were guaranteed a gold coin, which let's just verify that that's accurate here. We'll go ahead and grab one of these red ones, makes sure that.
Now the Betsy that I think they might be referring to is the one from the Uncut Nefties template, I think.
Yeah, I have them in my other wallet. I'm going to grab them here in a second. So I think I need to go to /C Alpaca Worlds to see if I did this right. And then I go to my packs.
Alpaca Worlds is certainly heavily involved with this from the start. That looks like one of their first partner projects.
All right, cool. Here's my pack.
Rip it.
Yeah. Let's see how I did. Now, if I'm not mistaken, these coins, did I get a coin? I sure did. So I got a silver coin. And now if we go back to the white paper, we see that that's going to drop me 50 nefty per coin. And the way that I've read this is exactly that, per coin. So if you have a whole bunch of them, you're going to get, 50 nefty per coin. And I think one important thing to note about these coins is they're non-transferable, meaning that once you open that pack, it's yours and it will be in there until you burn it. That's the only way to get it out of your wallet.
It's yours, but who
Yeah,
knows? They could use that later for future airdrops, though.
that is true. That is
Because
true.
whoever ripped the pack is typically the one that's the loyal owner of it, right?
Right, exactly. And then the other collection is the uncut nefties. And these, if I'm not mistaken, are specific templates. And I
Yes.
noticed as I was going through and picking these up, so they have very subtle differences between all of them. It's almost the same image on each one, but there's like little subtle differences between all of the templates. Let me see if I can show you what I mean. So this one is
what's awesome about these the Nefty token being dropped like this from the start. It's almost like if you're already holding this, you have when they give you the option to purchase NFTs using Nefty instead of Wax, you've already got an airdropped amount of. I mean, you can essentially grab a few NFTs just based on them honoring basically a previous cashback scenario. It's almost like they're honoring past sales with that.
right. Yeah, they sure are. Where's the floor at these right now? Looks like 7.5 wax will get you airdropped. So tell me what do you see when you look at this table here, this Betsy table? So I mean, obviously we know the column is the template IDs, and if you don't know how to see that, you click on details, and that would be this number right here. Which the way I like to navigate Atomic Hub is I click on the template ID and then I'll click on View on Market, and this assures me that I'm seeing only that template.
All right. Well, I'm going to put a little perspective on it here, and this is what I'm seeing. So, when you go up to page 9, all right, and you look at what their community sale is going to be, for $49.99, they are going to give you 400 backed Nefty.
Where are you seeing that on
page 9?
On page 9. Okay. All right.
So they're going to give you 400 Nefty for $49.99. All right, 400 for $49.99. That doesn't seem like a lot, because when you scroll down and look at what these Betsies are paying, if you have a Betsy, say polished, that pays $250. So if you go look at what the template ID for a Betsy polished that pays $250 is,
polished with logo or just Betsy polished?
Oh, it's paying 75, but still, just regular polish pays 75 Nefty. So if it's something like 7 wax to buy that, then you're buying it below what the community sale is going to be already, and then those, I would assume, would appreciate to match that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So we just found a pretty good deal here, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to look at 125,030. Yeah, let's take a look at it.
Let's see what the floor is on that, because.
All right. Oh, yeah, the floor is 70 wax. So
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so okay, it's already been met then.
Yeah.
So, but I guess if you can find deals on the Betsy's somewhere, look at this table and see how much you get for them. I mean, the sketches they don't give you very much, but if you can find a rough polish or any of the polished ones for a good deal, maybe underneath what that ratio would be for the Nifty collector pack, then I would say that that is a below market value price and would be a good deal. But you know, that's the way I see it. But I'm not
Yeah,
saying
for
go out. I'm
sure.
not saying go out and buy a bunch of Betsy's though, because it might be better just to participate in the platform
Right.
and get the Nifty for free. You know, because anything you hear on here, it's not going to be investment advice. This is going to
Nope.
be
And
just
we missed our disclaimer after we made a big deal about it. So let's back that up and we will pretend like we never started. So this is not financial advice, despite how brilliant Louisville is in the crypto, DeFi, et cetera space. You need to do your own research and never spend what you can't afford to lose.
yeah. That's rule number one. Don't take food off your table, and also like doing your own research isn't watching YouTube videos of people speaking about things like this. It's not listening.
Right. This is
It's
not
not
research
listening
either.
to me. It's not. This is listening to me is not research. It is just getting a human being's perspective. And um, I always recommend you go read that white paper. Go do your research. Go look at the tokenomics of it. Think about it. Contemplate on it.
Right.
Don't
And I did post up that white paper link for our audience. It's niftyblocks.com/white paper.
it's a
Um,
it's a good read because right now all we have right now is NFT Hive, which is mildly used, and then we have Atomic Hub, which is widely used. And what we're going to end up looking at is in the future, um, we'll have Nifty Blocks as a solid competitor and one that looks like they want to reward people to use the platform. So I thought this as like a kind of a this week's news type thing. This was a good thing to talk about because it is going to shake up the space a little bit, and you're going to start to see less if they have a full blown marketplace like Atomic Hub. You might start to notice listings, not as many listings on Atomic Hub, and you might be wondering why or where they're at, and people might be listing them on Nifty Blocks instead. So I guess down the line, make sure you're looking for that NFT Hive, Atomic Hub, and now you can add Nifty Blocks as a place where you can soon to be buy and sell your NFTs. So, um, but it's neat. Anything that gives you cash back is always a fun thing. They reward you. It's like reward points for using the platform. You're already going to be buying and selling, so depending on what you're doing. If you want to play one game and you need to sell an NFT to get onto another, then you know this is your portal.
yeah.
So, but that also brings me to another topic. We had some big news over this last weekend and this week where our senators and all of that in the United States were voting on huge infrastructure packages that actually had cryptocurrency mentioned and included in that bill for an infrastructure package. Um, and people are scared and honored and nervous and all that, but there's no need because while that
That
shows there's
passed. Yeah, we made a big deal about. We tweeted about that. Where can I go to I guess get a quick summary of that? Where do you have a hyperlink to share with the audience or something that I could pull up that just
I don't. I mean, if you just
what would it call? Just crypto bill? I could probably Google, right?
I would infrastructure bill crypto, and it was huge because it's actually what delayed the passing of the actual infrastructure bill. Was part of this was cryptocurrency regulation, and not just like regulation. They're talking about they want to be able to have a better tax authority over cryptocurrency mining, which I have a miner right here. Um,
Right. Yeah. That's
um,
the name of the show.
yeah, yeah. So I have a few minors, and it's a hobby. It's fun. It's something cool. And But so what they initially want is to be able to have a taxable form like a 1099 or a capital gains scenario or something, which is completely fair because, I do pay taxes on what these produce. And although it may not be much, you factor in electricity and all those others. Um, After taxes, I mean, it's not much, but you pay the taxes and you keep the rest. It's no big deal. It's no different than if you were to go to work and you make money, or if you get a bonus at work, you're gonna pay taxes on it. It's
So
just the laws of the land.
what
This
was the core of what was the most concerning in your opinion in this bill? So I know a little bit about it. I didn't really get into the depths of it. I know that the qualifying or calling people a broker was a big thing. Can you tell the audience more about what that's about?
Yeah, so they essentially want almost like a central authority reporting, or at least issuing out reports on the financial activity. So essentially, but it was the big stink was is a lot of these mining pools don't have the ability to say, hey, here's a 1099. You know, it's a game theory mechanism anyway. So you don't know if you're going to hit a block. You don't know. I mean, depends on how you're mining and all of that. So their biggest thing was private keyed wallets. They want to be able to have a certain layer of KYC, know your customer laws, associated with it, and they want to have a way to tax it or at least to tie identities easier to it, which I think is a good thing. I mean, you you can't do all this anonymously. It's impossible for one nowadays, and you have to pay your dues on taxes. It's just that's just how it works. And with DeFi, it's literally you just download a piece of software that's a wallet, and it can accept incoming and outgoing transactions through smart contracts. So like video games or buying and selling NFTs. But the biggest issue is do you know who the person that you're sending that NFT is?
Right. You shouldn't.
Who's on the other side of that?
Right.
Who's
Right.
buying it from you? And that's the problem. That's the disconnect, because there are, say there's countries that are where USA is not allowed to do business with.
Right.
And
Embargo countries. There's quite a list.
exactly. And that they can't get on some of these. Like I doubt they can make a wax cloud wallet, where they're at. But I'm sure I'm not an IT guy, but I'm sure they know ways to circumvent that.
Sure. Yeah.
So you don't know who is on the other side of the receiving transaction. And I think that's really the biggest problem is that they're concerned about, because if they don't know who's on the other side of the transaction, then they don't know who to tax. And they just want everybody to play by the rules. But this is all good because this shows that soon we're going to have a line being drawn in the sand that tells us exactly what we need to do and how we need to do it to make this ecosystem work. I mean, it's inevitable. It's not going anywhere. The genie is out the bottle. You can't put the blockchain back in the bottle. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So
the bill was aimed at creating. It was an infrastructure bill, right? For like roads and all of that. And it was some ridiculous number, like up in the trillions. Yep. And part of the way that they were going to get that money to fund that was through taxing the crypto industry. Yes. Is that a rough summary of it?
More of a regulated tax, because right now, almost if I hate to say it, but when I file my taxes at the end of the year on crypto, I feel like it's on the honor system, and
right.
I don't like that. I personally don't like that. I'm not a big anonymous crypto fan, because I want this to succeed on like mass adopted scale. I don't want this to be just some small community. I want this to be huge.
Well, I
And
think one of the arguments was the nefarious activities that I guess early on in the uh, life of Bitcoin and a lot of the other cryptos also, that was a big
yeah,
use case for it, right? Anonymous
yeah,
transactions, and so it kind of got that reputation for being, that's the only thing that it's good for is
yep.
buying illicit items on the dark net. But we've moved so far away from
So
that.
far, that is the U.S. dollars we use more for that than anything now. I mean, there's
Right.
Bitcoin is a glass door. You can go on the blockchain and see every single transaction from A to B to the next one, to the next wallet, to the next wallet. You can trace it all day long. I mean, it is not anonymous like people think it is. So
Right. I mean, I know that the gas pipeline thing, and in fact, the last couple, even the Twitter one where that guy had hacked all of those. I guess it was a team. Actually, I shouldn't put it on one person. The team of bad actors that hacked all those Twitter accounts and sent out the tweets from Elon Musk and
oh yeah.
Barack Obama and all these huge names saying that I'm doing this giveaway. If you send Bitcoin to this address, we'll send double back to you. And they track
Yeah.
those guys down
Oh, I
through
remember seeing that.
through the Bitcoin transactions. And then so
That was
yeah,
running
it's
rampant on Twitter. Like
right,
anybody famous is like in crypto.
right.
Twitter comments was like, "Hey, send me crypto, I'll double it."
So where did we end up with this bill? Did it? So I
It
heard
it,
Tuesday.
it passed with no changes made to it. It passed how they originally wanted it to be. Um, it's how the government wanted it to be.
Right.
Wyoming and all the fighters, Coinbase, they lost the fight. I mean, but they didn't lose because this is a win-win scenario. The
Sure.
fact
Yeah.
that crypto is in it's in the White House, it's in Senate, it's in Congress. They are
Right.
talking about it. They are brewing about it. They're trying to figure it
And
out.
hopefully they'll be investing in it soon. I think that's one of the big ones where uh, the big entities that isn't really in is that an accurate statement?
It- it's only a matter of time before they're in, if they're not
Yeah.
already. If they're not
Yeah.
already. I mean, South Carolina here is a state where they can get cryptocurrency as donations for uh, campaign funds, but
Right.
it has to be converted to U.S. dollars at the receipt. So
All right. So let me ask you this. You said South Carolina. That's where you're at. I'm in Texas. For people who didn't know that, what is, in your opinion, the most friendly crypto U.S. state?
Wyoming.
Wyoming. And why do you say that?
Okay, so they do a lot of mining there,
Okay.
not crypto mining, like finite resource
Actual.
mining. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So they get it. They get the finite resource structure and that type
Sure.
of thing, and like kind of the logarithmic scale that it goes on, right?
Right.
So, um, their senator is huge proponent. She was one of the big fighters for this.
What was that? Toombs? Or who was that? What was the
Um,
Wyoming senator?
her name is let's see,
Sorry, putting you on the spot here. Wyoming senator crypto
Cynthia Loomis.
Loomis.
Yes. She's actually asking. She put out a statement asking um, asking crypto miners to come to her state.
And so, and so we got that. We have the senators obviously was the driving force on this bill that was, favorable. Well, the changes to the bill that were favorable for the crypto space. What other reasons would you rank Wyoming up there? How are our taxes? Do they handle taxes better than other states? And because this is going to lead into my next question, which would be what's the most crypto unfriendly U.S. state?
So I would say with Wyoming, I don't know if there's much to do with taxes as much, because I'm sure it's just as competitive as any other state. I mean, they're going to they've all got their own different structures. I mean, there's some states that do no in-state tax, no, that type of thing. So um, I'm not sure as to what the actual, if there would be any financial gain to moving there, aside from the fact that you're in a friendly atmosphere for what you're into. Like on July 3rd, she tweeted, "If you are in the Bitcoin mining space, please reach out."
Yeah. Check
So,
out your Google search here. Most crypto friendly state, Wyoming.
I would say the most crypto unfriendly state is going to be New York. They're friendly. They're friendly. Don't get me wrong. They are friendly, but their regulatory standards restrict a lot of their citizens from even buying a lot of crypto. So their Coinbase list is slashed. I mean, there's a lot of different.
Yeah, you know what? I think I've heard that. I wonder how New Jersey is in comparison. Probably not much better. That's where.
Not much far behind. But so here's the thing about New York, though. I know for certain that in order to do business in New York, you have to have a location in New York.
Oh, wow.
So that prevents a lot of places. That's why a lot of companies have offices just an office in New York, so they can operate there.
Awesome, man. Awesome. All right. Hey, I'm going to go a little bit off script here because I want to ask you some questions about Alcor Exchange. Are you
Yeah.
familiar with the site?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say it's kind of the way you can move from one game to another. Like move your in-game resources from one game to the next.
Okay. And so this is the site here let me put it up on the screen. I'm going to go specifically to the Wax one. There are many other chains here, EOS, Proton, which, to be honest with you, other than EOS, I don't know that I've heard of any of these other chains. Have you?
Yep. Proton, I know, is on I think it's on Coinbase. I do believe, but I haven't looked into them myself. I've heard of Telos, but I haven't heard of BOS. I'm very familiar with EOS and Wax, though.
Right.
They're
So
more of a centralized model built for speed,
yeah.
and sustainability as far as scaling. It is a bit scalable.
Okay. All right. And so up at the top here, I see what tabs I have, and I've only ever navigated to two of them. I think I've looked at maybe all of them, but originally I only used this tab, which was markets. And this showed us what we find that originates from here. Would that be an accurate statement? So for it to be over on the markets, it needs to start on swap, or can you get to, well, I guess first tell us what swap is. What's the swap tab?
So swap on any DEX at all, Uniswap, Pancake Swap, anything that you run a swap through a liquidity pool. A swap is literally just you say, hey, I have say TLM from Alien Worlds, but I really want to craft something in our planet. So
Okay.
I want to move my TLM directly into Aether, so that I can then craft or invent or whatever you plan to do, or upgrade your land, or whatever you're trying to do.
If I wanted 100 wax worth of Trillium, I could come and do that right here, and I can get Trillium in my wallet. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. That's ultimately what'll happen, and it goes for whatever the going rate is at the time, and it'll show you right there in that graph. It tells you
Right.
What
Yeah. Up
it,
here, I think it says one wax equals 0.66, 1 trillion equals 1.5 wax. But let me ask you about these three at the bottom here, because I don't really understand them that well. I know that if price impact is yellow or red, that I'm probably doing something wrong. And that's just from the context clues of the colors. But I don't really understand what price impact is. What can you tell me about that?
okay, so when you're looking at liquidity pools, you're going to have a certain amount of people. This is community people now. There's no central entity doing this, that have staked or kind of put their wax and TLM into a pot, and they want to and that basically helps facilitate trading through smart contract instead of having some central authority executing these transactions for you. Instead, they're on a peer-to-peer level, and that's a decentralized exchange, and
So
that's
that's what would be these tabs here, right? The liquidity plus and liquidity negative. That's what somebody before me came in. They had both tokens and they set up a liquidity position, right?
Yep. They needed both tokens to do so,
Okay.
and basically they put both of those into a bucket, and that makes it so person A and person B can. Person A has TLM, but they want wax. Um, Person B has wax, but they want
Okay.
TLM.
Cool.
They can throw it in the bucket and pull the other what they want out the bucket.
Okay, so what is the price? So I just bought 100 so we can set up a liquidity position next. But just where do I want this number to be, and how does that affect me?
So that price impact right there
Yeah.
is what happens to. That's what's going to happen to the price after you execute your transaction.
So it's
You'll
going to go up 0.202%, right?
Yep. Yep. So I can't see it on, but yeah, whatever that percent is.
Yeah, it's 0.02.
Yeah. So you will move the price upwards 0.02% by executing that transaction. Um, I just saw John L197 in chat said always refresh before. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Alcor doesn't live feed refresh, and
Oh, okay.
but
Awesome.
that will be more prevalent if it's like super highly volatile, like when an invention pops up on our
Right.
planet,
Sure.
everyone's rushing to get their aethers so they can craft and
So
work their
I,
way up.
I know that so like way back in like 2017, I think when it first came out, like the Bancor protocol, like I remember Bancor was like
Yes.
this hot new like thing in Ethereum, and I read their white paper, and I didn't really understand a lot of it, and especially not the math and the algorithms, like the calculus that went into all of this. But I believe all of this can be traced back to that Bancor protocol. Is that accurate?
That's kind of where all this got born, to be
Right.
honest. I mean, we're talking everything. I mean, Bancor came, then
Right.
after that, it was people saw what that was doing, and they
Yeah. Uniswap, I think,
platform.
came shortly after that.
Oh yeah, it was
And
platform after platform
and
after
I
that.
remember reading in the white paper that, so like if I'm buying 100 wax of Trillium like I did, the way it works on the back end, I'm not executing 100 for 66. It's actually a bunch of micro transactions that I think would increase this price impact on. Do you know anything about that? About what I, because that's a
Yes.
pretty technical thing.
So the best way to look at it or think about it is on a sliding scale. Um, go click on plus liquidity.
Okay.
Um, Down there at the bottom, you're going to see asset A or asset 1 and 2.
Okay.
You'll see this on Uniswap, all that, any of these dexes. That's the amount that's currently deposited in that pool. So it can only handle but so big of transactions. How much
Right.
how much wax is in that pool?
Looks like 580,000.
Okay, so that's a healthy pool.
Okay.
So that can handle larger transactions. You could drop 1,000 wax transaction, and it won't really it won't really hurt it too much. Now, if you drop 100,000 wax
Right. I
buy
just switched
order
it
on
to
there,
this coin that I didn't really know, and it looks like this only has 986 wax in it. Right.
yeah, and if you type in like a 400 wax buy order on that, um, you'll and you type in a 200 wax buy order on that, you're gonna see that you're pretty much almost getting about the same amount of that token, close to it, because it slides up because it can only sell you but so much out of that pool, and it won't ever let you buy everything out of that pool because it will just jack the
Oh yeah,
price.
you look at that. So if I put 400, I'm getting 1004. But if I put 200, I'm getting 1100. So I'm getting more
Yep,
with
because
less.
because what happens is the pool can
Wow.
go back to plus liquidity.
Yeah.
You'll see the pool only has 900 wax and however much of the other coin in there, so it can only handle but so much
Right.
transaction because it's not going to let you buy it all. It's going to keep it. I think once it hits like a 70% mark, it starts pushing price really hard. So I mean, it's a pure sliding scale. So it's only what the pool can handle. So if the pool doesn't have very much liquid in it, you can't buy very much, or else you're just going to be pumping the price up for somebody to exit on you. I don't know.
Right. Okay, so I want this price impact to be in like a green color, like that 0.2. Where does do I once I start getting past 1%, do I need to be worried, or can I still put in my order like the yellow? What would you?
If you need to put in a larger order and a swap liquidity pool can't handle it, you need to switch to the actual like a limit market, like the actual.
Okay, and we'll talk about that a bit next here.
Yeah, so that's you would need to switch to that.
Okay, so we'll go switch back to Trillium here because I have enough to make a pool here. So what I would want to do, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to switch it so that the token that I have less of, I want that to be my asset one, or at least this is how I do it. And then I click on max because I want to put all of it in there. And then it's going to calculate how
it'll allocate. It doesn't matter if you choose asset 1 or 2. It's gonna.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you swap it, it's just gonna swap the numbers at the bottom too.
I see. Okay.
But that will change in live time because people are trading in that liquidity pool, and as the price goes up or down, then you're gonna have that change in price or the requirement for liquidity.
All right. And so we went ahead and now I have a 0.01% pool share of Wax Trillium.
And what that does now is you have designated that to the bucket, and people can use that bucket to trade their wax to Trillium, wax to Aether. It's limitless in DeFi and crypto. Anybody can trade anything at any time. And that's why the government wants to be able to tax this, or at least be able to track this for 1099s and stuff, because of the fact that you just connect with a wallet, and it's so you just got to play by the rules and pay your taxes.
Right. Now let me ask you this. So now I refreshed the screen and it says my earning, like I earn negative 0.02 Trillium. How do I earn, or did I lose it? Like, am I losing money here? What's going on?
If you were to close that, you would be down that much Trillium, but up that much wax. Yeah, it works. Think of it like a seesaw.
Okay.
If somebody goes and buys a bunch of Trillium out of the pool, you'll go negative on Trillium. If someone goes and pulls a bunch of wax out of the pool and sells a bunch of Trillium to it, you go way up on Trillium and down on wax. But all the meanwhile, through these swap and liquidity pools on this specific DEX, I think Alcor pays a 0.3% transaction fee to the liquidity pool owners.
Yeah, that would be down here, right? Liquidity source fee, 0.3%.
Yep. So
So
anyone
on
who
every trade, every trade that goes through this LP, 0.3% is split up amongst all of the
yes,
look. Oh wow.
you'll get your percent of that share.
So I'll get 0.01% of 0.03% of all transactions.
It doesn't add up fast. It's something that you just kind of just sit there and you forget about it for a while. So it's one thing that you'll want to do is make sure that the price is pretty stable, because you don't want it to be too volatile.
Right. And that's what one of our watchers just said. So always look at the volume and size of the LP before you put your money in. It's pretty volatile when the pool is low.
Yes.
Okay. So how would I do that? Like, help me. Where am I looking and what am I looking for? Like, am I back on this screen now? To see the like how Joel A2K just said, like, look at the size and the volume of the LP.
Okay.
Is this where I'm looking?
Right below the chart there, price, liquidity, and volume.
Oh, okay.
You can look at historical liquidity for it and the volume. And
so I didn't even know these were tabs.
so go to, like, say all time for volume.
Where do I see all time at?
Volume.
Yep. There you go. All time.
And then do liquidity.
Okay.
So there's that's basically its historical summary of liquidity. It had a lot at one point. Wow.
So this number is the what number? What does this number represent? The 1.5 million I'm looking at here.
That's how much TLM was in.
That's how much TLM was in the pool.
Yep.
Oh wow. And then everybody emptied it right when it probably got listed on Binance. I wonder if that matches up.
Oh, you know what? I bet they portaled it to Binance. Yeah, I bet this was the only place that you could provide liquidity at, and then when Binance launched it, you could provide liquid there probably.
Okay, and Least Comic Cynic says you can also get an idea from what you're putting in, what it says your percentage of the pool is. And so I think that's back on this screen here.
Yep.
My pool share. Yep. All right.
So, and these are tools like Alcor is not like a true exchange. It's not like you can't buy crypto on Alcor. You have to come in with like Aether in your wallet. Something in your wallet.
Certainly not your credit card. That's not going to do anything here.
Nope. Yep. It is not like it's not an exchange. It's literally a place for you to move your one game currency into the next. Like if you're playing Prospectors and you're doing well, but then you really want to do better in our planet, you have that opportunity.
Right. And so just back on this table here that I learned about today, volume. This is daily volume of the token. So I'm looking at a number here on some date recently, and it says 2.7 million trillium. So that's how much trillium moved through. Okay, is that what it's telling me? What is volume? How would you define volume?
So from that one, it looks like it is calculating that in TLM. I wonder if you switch it, if it'll say how much wax volume that was. If you go to the left and swap the arrows.
Yeah, yep. It sure does.
Yep, it does. Yep, it'll tell you what the wax volume was for that day. So you could look at that and calculate, like, so I own, like, let's just say I own 1% of the pool, which would be like massive. That's
okay.
That'd be a lot of money, you know?
Right. And that's how much wax you would have made on that day.
So you'd be like, okay, so what's 0.3% of that? And then do 1% of that. And then you know how much you would have made. So
wait a minute. 1% of the pool is huge, you said? Like, are you talking about your pool share here?
This one,
Oh,
because
right. Okay.
this one it had like 500. What didn't it have like 500 something thousand wax in it? That's a lot of
Yeah.
1%. It's a lot of money, you know.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. That's making sense. Awesome. And so this little pool that I made, this LP position, from what I've understood, and I've seen this when I've looked in my MetaMask wallet, like I don't actually have the tokens anymore, the wax and the trillium that I put in. I've sent that off somewhere, and in return, I've gotten back a token that represents what I put in. Is that accurate?
Yes, yes. So, so again, say this is no different than Pancake Swap and
Right.
Uniswap and all those. You when you provide both those pairs,
Uh-huh.
to Uniswap or Alcor or any of these DeFi dexes, what you get back is an actual token that's representative of it. And when you break that token back apart, it gives you back what you were what the current weight is of it. And you'll see that
Right.
by looking at your like an Alcor. Alcor is really crude, and I personally don't like it. It functions, it works, but it doesn't give you much data to work with, like Uniswap would. Uniswap, it'll tell you. I mean, it tells you exactly, what.
Right. And
So,
Uniswap is only ETH,
uh, I
Ethereum.
I think they do smart chain now.
Does anybody in the, like, this is not a rhetorical question or a question I'm asking for the sake of getting information on our stream. I legit don't know. Let's see. Launch. I don't know it. I thought it was, let's see.
You can get Waxy on Uniswap.
Right. Yeah. We're going to have to do a whole episode on Waxy. Maybe we'll do that next week or before that. That is something, and the governance token for Wax are definitely topics that I want to discuss. All right, so it looks like this might be the answer. The bridge from Wax Speed to ETH is also pretty interesting. Yeah, you can provide liquidity for Waxy ETH and get governance tokens in exchange. Yes. And Least Comic says that it looks like it's only ERC tokens.
Okay.
Which would be Ethereum.
I mean, that would make sense though, because Coinbase does not list Binance Smart Chain, and Uniswap. Coinbase is. I'm very proud of them at how well they've done at using tokens and coins that are KYC compliant and that.
Wait, who is this? Coinbase, right?
Coinbase does a really good job of only listing coins that are fully. These are the real deal. And I hats off to them. They've started listing a lot of stuff lately, but they did go public on the stock market. So
any idea why Wax isn't listed on Coinbase?
I think it's because EOS is already there.
You think that's what it is?
EOS is already there. I don't think it's long until Wax hits his Coinbase, to be honest. It can't be long because.
Yeah, I would hope so.
I mean,
I heard a rumor, and I'm not going to spread it, but I heard that it doesn't have to do with anything other than something that is pretty stupid. So if that could get cleared up, if it's true, I would love Wax to be listed on Coinbase, because then we're all going to be.
It's easier
really
to buy.
Right. Yeah. We're all going to be way better off. And which, speaking of, we should actually put that on. Maybe I should start making a checklist of topics, like buying crypto, because I know that's one of the things that I struggled with early on, especially buying Wax. And I have a lot of sympathy for our community. Like,
Yeah, it's really hard. You got to jump through some hoops to get it. My favorite place to use it is Abra. which is actually a sponsored by Wax Cloud Wallet. If you go look on your Wax Cloud Wallet dashboard, I didn't learn
Right.
from it there. I learned from it elsewhere because it was a really neat platform overall. But they sell wax there. It runs through Bittrex, but it has a 0.1 wax send fee compared to another exchange's 30 wax send fee, which is outrageous. So I like using them. And they're KYC compliant. You have to send photo ID, your name, address, all that stuff.
Right. And do me a favor. I guess I could post it here. Tell me what's your definition of KYC?
KYC would be like everything you would need to set up a bank account. Know your customer, your photo ID, front and back, first name, last name, address, social. It's important, and it's something that's a miss right now in DeFi, and it's
Right.
it's going to hold DeFi back if it doesn't get ironed out. And in fact, it could bring DeFi down if it doesn't.
Because of the anti-money laundering and all of the negative things that we kind of touched on earlier. One of them that we didn't was funding terrorism and money laundering between large criminal organizations. And
there's always that dude that ruins it for everybody.
Right. Yeah. And so that's kind of like what's behind, in my opinion, at least in my experience, what's been behind a lot of the push for KYC and the fact that you have to scan your ID, and that's just not very mainstream friendly. I'm afraid.
No, it's not.
Try explaining to your 60-year-old mother, like, okay, mom, you got to take a picture of your driver's license because for the last 2 decades, all they heard about is identity theft and how you never do that, and now you're kind of trying to pivot it and say, okay, well, it's okay this time because, and
go ahead and cloud up a photo of your driver's license, like
right.
Yeah, it's so it is a really, really strange landscape that's going on in the financial world. I mean, it's crazy, but ultimately for DeFi to survive, KYC's got to be in place. But check this out. There is something that I noticed last night, actually. I was just browsing Coinbase Pro and just looking at some of the.
Can you share your screen and show us Coinbase Pro?
Yeah.
It should be down the bottom middle, and then it'll pop up.
Let me log out though.
Yeah, there you go. That's smart. While you're doing that, I'll see if.
All right.
And you know what? I didn't comment on, Louis, your beautiful T-shirt that you're wearing. That I happen to be wearing the same one of. We got some pretty awesome news from the Metaforce team today, and actually a couple announcements recently. The comic series 1 drop will be on the 20th of August, so roughly 8 days. And Metaforce is now an official Wax partner. They're going to be listed on their Wax wallet in the dApps there, and all kinds of great stuff will come from that. So that's super cool. Yes, in fact we did. Yes, and we planned it as much as I got on the stream and saw Louis' shirt and said, "Oh shit, I got to put my Metaforce T-shirt on." Yeah.
Behold, who sees my screen?
I gotta click there and then they can see it. Awesome. All right, so what are we looking at here? This is the
who knows what AXS is? Who knows?
What is it? Let me post the question.
The currency. Who knows?
AXS?
Yeah. They can probably read it on my screen, but
Axes. Who said it first? Vorts. Is that right?
yep.
Awesome.
So Axie Infinity is now you're watching it actively trade right now on Coinbase Pro, the native token for the game.
Wow.
So let's get. I mean, this is. I don't know if you understand how. Even if you don't play the game, I haven't played the game. I don't know anything about it. I know there's a lot of hype around it, but the fact that there's a play to earn token on Coinbase is massive for this space. I'm talking.
Yeah.
I mean, that is literally. I don't know if that's Coinbase just acting out from what happened this last week, or what, but it is on Coinbase. And Coinbase is a publicly traded company, KYC compliant exchange. It is a central hub for global crypto purchases. I mean, Binance, of course, is probably the biggest one, or maybe some others as well. But Coinbase is like the tried and true. It's been around. It's not going nowhere, and they run a tight ship, and they don't get fancy with their stuff, but everything works for the most part. So, but seeing Axie Infinity on there just seals the deal that, if they're listing Axie, then it won't be. I mean, maybe it won't be long before we see things like Gala, or see things like Wax, or see things like other, just you name it. There's Skill. I don't know. I think Skill's Binance Smart Chain, so you probably won't see that. But if it's on Ethereum, it's there's a good chance you might see a paid. I mean, Decentraland was probably the first one there, but no one thought anything of it. And then now we have another. So
I mean, Trillium was the last big one that I had heard of, right? And that was back in April. We kind of mentioned that earlier. And now Axes is making all of the noise. I know that there's been plenty of other ones that you just mentioned, but man, this is huge this has to be enormous for early adopters of that game. I can't imagine that it's not. I mean, right?
It's no, undoubtedly, and it also, what it does is like completely legitimizes their platform altogether. I mean, they're not. I've only seen one coin get delisted off of Coinbase, and that was XRP.
And that was over some nonsense.
Yeah, and it's only a matter of time before they'll be back up. So it's
so if it gets onto Coinbase, that's a great point.
So
okay, this is not financial advice. Axes.
No, I mean, I know nothing about this. I just saw Axie Infinity on Coin. I'm on Coinbase Pro, so I'm sitting here perusing it. And I'm like, what is AXS? And I click on it, and I'm like, Axie Infinity. That's a play to earn game. I was like, oh my gosh, this is bigger than people think, because this is just the first.
What do you know of Revomon? Have you heard of that one yet? I've seen the name. I may have even seen the logo and the game website, but I don't know anything about it yet.
I don't either. I saw it pop up on the NFT Gamer TV page, but I've been so busy with life lately that
right. Yeah, we'll have to check that. We'll have to dig into that one.
It is impossible to keep up with all of this at once,
It is, right, and that's kind of what I know. You mentioned the Discord, but that's kind of something that we're trying to make a lot easier. And as we grow, we're going to streamline it and take the community suggestions and feedback, because we're in August, and the growth that we've seen from like May to August, not to mention from January to August, it's been enormous and immense, and it's only going to continue to grow. Like, I would predict by December, like you're not going to be able to, somebody will suggest something, and without a serious nudge, like you're probably not going to have time or the bandwidth to even
Yeah.
read their homepage, let alone the white paper, or get involved with it. And so
It's crazy. And then just all the chains, like, I mean, you've got all like a bunch of chains coming out with games. I mean, we're looking at Wax, Binance Smart Chain. I haven't messed really with that because I don't have a way to buy it.
right.
I mean, I could get it through, I guess, through MetaMask, but I like to buy it from exchange. I don't know. I'm so pro moving forward with, drawing the line and regulations, sand, and so we know where to go, how to play by the rules, and how to do all this. Like, I want this to be the biggest thing on the planet, and in order for to do that, we have to satisfy all the boxes.
Right.
And so we got Matic, Ethereum, Theta.
Right. Right.
Then you got Blankos, which is a private, I think that's a private EOS chain.
I don't know if it's EOS. That's a great question. I've had Blancos installed for a long time. I think that was probably the second game that I got in NFT game that I got into after Upland. So it's been a long time. They've been around for a bit, but I don't know that I know the answer to that.
Yeah,
that is pretty cool.
I like it.
Hey, so let me ask you a quick question before we wrap this up, because I want to reward Rorts for answering the question right. And I got his Wax wallet. And so this Trillium Wax LP that I set up, you know how we said it's its own token now? Can I send that token, or do I have to withdraw it? Like, is there any way for me to send my Wax TLM token and move it from one account to another? Or do I have to liquefy it?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Like, what happens? So that might be a cool test scenario, because send the LP token, and then if someone breaks it apart, does it award the original person who signed the contract, or does it award the person who has the actual token?
So Curtis with the K says you can transfer LP tokens.
And then when you break them apart, they still appear normal for you?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. I don't know.
I've never done
back. We're doing science.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Hold on a second. Yeah, I think you can. Let me share my screen. I don't know how I got to this tab. I magically just found it, I think. So it looks like I do have a transfer button. Let me zoom this in. Right. And so we were over here on swap, and this shows me my LP. So I clicked on wallet, and sure enough, here are the tokens that I have, and I have a transfer button. And so if I throw that in there and I click that, and I say, thanks for the support. Let's see. Let me just verify that address really quick. I always get super nervous about taking addresses. And boom. It looks like that might have worked.
Yep.
Awesome.
So
we'll have to send Curtis with a K a reward also for being the genius that knew that you could do that.
And just real quick, I mean, one thing that makes me so excited about Wax and NFTs, I've only been in this space for about 4 months for NFTs. I've been in crypto for years. It's been a passion of mine for a long time.
Right. We were supposed to lead off with this. My camera getting screwed up in the beginning. It kind of completely threw me off my game. I was supposed to ask you like how long you've been into it. So we'll wrap it. We'll circle back to that on our next show next week. We'll pretend like maybe that was our first.
Yeah.
But
just a closing thing. Some of the biggest things that we've seen that do not overlook on Wax is the big names that have come into the space. We all have our feelings about the projects I'm going to name, but you have Topps, Major League Baseball on Wax. You have think of the names though. The names is what matters. You have recently think about the Funko drop.
Yeah.
Don't worry about Funko. Don't
Right.
worry about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Don't worry about Nickelodeon. Worry about Viacom. If you look at the very bottom, very, very bottom, that copyright says Viacom. And if you don't know who Viacom is, they know who you are. So Google them. Viacom is just the fact that their name is minted on the wax chain is just We're gonna see more big names coming to wax, I bet.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, Louis, thank you so much for joining us on this inaugural Keys of a Miner series. We plan on doing this every week, Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. And I'm really looking forward.
Not investment advice.
And it is not investment advice.
I will please don't ever ask me, hey, what should I buy? Because I will not tell you. Don't ask me where prices are going because I don't know. Nobody does. And but I've been in the space for a while. I'll share my opinions on what I think about things. But other than that, do your own research. I am not research. Other YouTubers are not research. Do your research.
Can you tell me what not to buy? It's a great question. You didn't point that.
Okay, so do not buy my Audi that's sitting in my yard that's broke down. Okay. I have another car, but that one that guy right there, I don't even know what to do with it. It's gone. So
yeah. Awesome. Well, all right, man. I think we're gonna end the stream so we don't go too far with the recording, and then we could probably pop into the NFT Gamer TV voice channel, and why not? And then hear from if anybody wants to join us there, we'll be right over there.
Yeah, if anyone wants to talk to me there, I'll probably throw up some Blancos too.
Cool. Awesome.
While I talk. So.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Peace.